Hey everybody, how y'all doing? So it's my lunchtime. Y'all forgive me if I'm shining a bit. It's not as hot as it usually is today. Actually, as we speak, the rain is currently coming down. So if y'all hear like let me speak up a bit. Yeah, if y'all hear like some noises in the background, it's actually the rain noises that you'll be hearing, all right? So it's Monday the 20th of July. I'm not gonna even ask how's everybody doing because everybody ain't doing right. Especially if you live, not only if you live in Guyana, once you're Guyanese and you're paying attention to what's happening. You know what happened on our high seas, if you want to call it that, on Saturday evening, where the boat toppled. Yeah, the rain is down. It's falling heavy. So again, I'm gonna try to pitch my voice so I can do this quickly. The boat toppled. It sank. People are still missing. It's raining now. So I mean, this is basically. I'm not trying to be cold or mean or cruel, but this is basically it. I mean, yeah, we know I believe in God. I'm a full fledged Christian. We know miracles do happen, but without thinking about the miracle of God, we know the miracle of God is real, but logically, it can't be a rescue mission on to now. It has to be a recovery mission, recovering. And I am so sorry. I don't mean to be cruel, cold, or insensitive, especially to people who are still missing loved ones, unless they've managed to get to safety on some other part of Guyana. That's fine. I would love it. But I'm just trying to be real. So let me go that again. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm not trying to be cold. I'm just trying to be real because this boat mishap happened at about 11 p.m. somewhere thereabout on Saturday night. We're now, when I'm doing this video now, it is what time is it? Yeah, it is Monday the 20th of July, just about 2 p.m. So look how many hours would have passed, huh? More than 28 hours, more than 48 hours. So this is where we at. Now, yesterday, Sunday, a lot of people called for the issue to not be politicized because you still have people's families are missing, people are crying, people don't know what to do with themselves. Again, families are missing at sea. And based on the incompetence of the current administration, at this point, we don't know, we really don't know anymore how many persons really were on that boat because 30 something of the people who were recovered, thank God for that, those names were not on the manifest. So, what about the names that were on the manifest, which accounted for 133 people? This includes, I think it's 17 crew members. So, if what you found so far are not people named, some of them are not on the manifest, then really and truly, how many people were on the boat, right? That's one. I know yesterday one of the things many people called for is for this issue to not politicize, to not be politicized, because again we're dealing with emotions and people's missing families, missing children, and so on. One woman talked about losing 7 children at once. It's a lot of it I stayed away from social media because I couldn't take it. I get very emotional, and I didn't want to go on social media and say things that would add to the flames. But point is, a lot of people are still missing, and because of that, a number of institutions, organizations, even Forward Guyana movement, in the name of the leader and the founder of Forward Guyana, Mr. Manzo Walton, member of parliament, she called for it to not be politicized. Now, yeah, this was yesterday, this was Sunday. I agreed, for the sake of people's lives and their families and so on. Today is a different day. I understand the need for so many people to call for it not to be politicized because it is such a serious issue. It transcends politics. The high seas and the toppling of a boat don't ask you what you vote for. But I'm gonna say a couple of things now. Let me just warn some of y'all. Let me warn you. If you know your emotions like me, when you get your panties in a bunch, scroll, because I'm gonna say some things that some people don't like. At least two things. The first thing I'm going to say is this. Some honestly, yeah, and I'm vexed. And I could say, well, like us, this is my page. This is my personal space. Like I said, you don't like it, you don't have to comment, you scroll past. Some of y'all are commenting on this tragedy. Oh, this, we crying with it. I don't want to hear y'all commenting. You know why I don't want to see y'all comments? Because we're one month we're in July, and people, some of you won't come and say like, well, one thing got to do with another, but it got a lot to do, and these are conversations that some of you, a lot of you, are not ready yet to have. Y'all ain't ready to hear what's the truth. Some of y'all were commenting about its tragedy and how could this happen, and you're mourning and you're groaning and you go, you know what I mean? If I want to hear from y'all, some sentiments don't move me, because what's the next big activity we got in Guyana? They're gonna be held and put off and pulled off by the same government, and millions and billions are going to be spent in it. I think it's cricket. That's the next thing. Y'all could jump in here, and tell me if it's not cricket. Was the next thing? I think cricket is in August or September, late August, September. There's the they're gonna be all the cricket concerts and this and the half of y'all, more than half of y'all were on social media now crying and commenting and bawling and want to pull your hair out. Y'all gonna do them concerts. Y'all gonna do them shows. Y'all gonna do the stadium. Yeah, and some people say, I'm gonna come and something like, oh, one thing got to do with it. It got a lot to do with it. I keep telling y'all, continue to support this government. When you support this government and these kind of activities that they're having, you're basically putting your stamp of approval on the PPP administration. Yeah, like it's not the PPP and it's not the government saying the boat. It is their incompetence that caused this. I heard a story. My mom has a friend who travels that same route. And I can tell y'all, just for the experience and the trip, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, my mom went on that same ferry, that same trip, the 24-hour trip, just to get the experience, because my mom was not living in Guyana for a long time. And when she looked at the way that they packed the boats, this is what was told. I am not saying this is so. When they asked the captain or whoever and the authorities, why let's pack up this boat like this, they said the government said pack it. Again, this is alleged. I don't have no proof that they said that, but this is one of the things that would have been said. The authorities them say, pack the boat, pack the people. Right? Good. But I digressed. Coming back to what I was talking about. That's what I'm saying. Some of you, a lot of y'all ain't ready for real conversations. That's why I said some of you who are commenting on this whole tragedy, I would say nothing on their post, and I just look at it, suck my teeth, and scroll past. Some of you are even went the extra mile to delete some of y'all. Because I don't want to hear from you. Because in another month or two, when all the big fancy activities come, you're going to spend your money, you're going to go, and you keep putting your stamp of approval on a criminal administration. It is the fact that this is a criminal administration that got us experiencing tragedy after tragedy in this country. Helicopter crash, Durham fire, how many children died, Adriana Young situation. The road accidents continue like crazy, and we know when we got road accidents in this country as well, because there's a complete breakdown in law and order in society. And I keep saying, y'all are putting your stamp of approval on this administration. Continue going to the parties and the show. Continue approving it. When things like this happen, sit down in your house, look and shut your mouth. Don't come out and say nothing, because all of you are part of the problem. Continue to put your stamp of approval. And don't come and tell me like one thing got nothing to do with the other. It got a lot. Attacking and all the veins in my neck raising up because I getting angry, upset and annoyed, and got me looking like an aged woman. Nothing is wrong with age, but continue. You continue putting a stamp of approval and see where we will be in this nation. The other thing I want to address, and again, yesterday was fine when we called for, including Forward Guyana Movement, and I was in agreement with it. I didn't come out and say anything publicly for this issue not to be politicized. Let me tell y'all something. This is a highly political charged country, and it will not change anytime soon. You don't get to come down on anybody. As much as we didn't want it, you don't get to come down on anybody who politicized this issue from Jump Street yesterday. Again, y'all ain't gonna like what I got to say. If it was David Granger being in office, oh father, we want to hear the end of it. The whole government would want to resign. The current president, the sitting script president. That's why I tell y'all, this is no big boy special president. This is a joker masquerading as the head of state. I will never forget that scene outside of the Pegasus Hotel. I cannot remember what the major issue was. Irfan and his people, a crew of protesters, they were rocking a minister's vehicle, a Prado. If you all know, it's the Prado, the big black vehicle. I think it's Nissan brand. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he was rocking, he and the people rocking and shaking the vehicle, want to topple the vehicle because they thought the government minister was in there. Again, PNC and APN, you people come and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that at that time that vehicle was the honorable Minister Karen Cummins. I think she was Minister of Health then. That was the vehicle. They were under the assumption, and Irfan was leading the charge. That's what I listen, no big by president. Coming back to my original point on this, was this the APNU AFC administration, the David Granger led administration? They would have been on the streets calling for the resignation, not only of the minister, but and I've seen people are calling for the resignation of the minister. My thing is, go the full mile, call for them resign. Who's the boss? Hmm? The Minister of Public Works, who's the boss? Y'all ain't ready for truth. Y'all ain't ready for facts. But yeah, no, I don't. On these videos, I try to keep them as tight and as short as possible because I am not one to ramble and go over and over and over again. But those are the two things I came to talk to y'all about today. The fact that I don't want to hear from some of y'all were talking shut up because the minute a tenant come knock, every tenant come knock that it's hosted by the PPP, y'all there. And I'm not talking about the PPP lackeys and the PPP so-called supporters because most of them only supporting because they could get something. Y'all don't get to come out here and cry and mourn. Let we, the true, the genuine people who want betterment for this country, let we cry and mourn. Y'all don't come out here and cry and mourn. We don't want to hear it from none of y'all. Because in a month, it's going to become a tragedy in the past, like the helicopter tragedy, like what was it, the dorm fire, so many other things, Adriana. It's going to become just like that in a month. Just like how soon we're going to forget about Farmgate, the ranch, the big fancy ranch that the president got. Soon this is what it's going to become. So I said, yeah, some of y'all, I don't want to hear y'all. They're post after post after post. And I'm thinking, you hypocrite. You are enabling this administration to be incompetent, to continue to be incompetent and to not have to answer. One actually jump up this morning to talk about who wouldn't be sent home and who would be sent home. And what? The people cheering still possibly, God forbid. But this is what it is. I'm coming from the reality again. I don't mean to hurt anybody who's still hurting because it could have been any one of our families. But the minister, you supposedly sending people cheering under the sea, possibly. I mean, again, when I load this video, it's going to be this evening. But now that I'm making this video is at 2 p.m. in the day or just after 2 p.m. I haven't heard anything. I did a quick scan of social media before I started talking. I haven't heard anything about bodies floating up. And it's I don't even want to touch on this part of it. I stayed off of social media for most of yesterday. Last evening I went on to just to check to see what was the updates and so on. But this is it. These are the two things I came to talk about today. The fact that I can't tell nobody don't politicize nothing. This is a highly politically charged place, and again, I'm not knocking people who called for it to not be politicized yesterday because I agree with it. The wound was still fresh, but this is the reality that we live. Right? There's the one thing. And the second thing, as I said, I don't want to hear nothing from y'all. Y'all will just jump up and support the people and put your stamp of approval on them. You can't want it in cake and bake. You can't want to condemn them when these things happening, but then everything in Kopnak, you're there in the pictures, you see y'all and y'all having fun, and you forget about that, and then you come up, oh, I like it, I got nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with it. Continue to not hold this government accountable. Continue to put your stamp of approval on them. They will always feel that these things could happen. They can come out, make statements. The big bye president, the flatfoot hustler gonna come back. I don't know if he's still out of the jurisdiction, but he gonna come back for make statement about no stone being left unturned and about investigations being done. And a month from now, we will be right here again watching. God forbid another tragedy. They're cursed. When I call them either the mafia party or the cult party, people just get upset and annoyed. They're a cult. They're cursed and they curse this nation. But God forbid, praying and believing people like me will ensure that it didn't go far, very far, but they're cursed. That party, that government is a cult, and the blood of so many people in this nation will forever be on the hands. That is all I got to say. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Stay prayed up because we're being governed by a cult slash mafia party.